Sando's giving me the most evil.
Let's do
But
this.
as for how exactly, just wait.
Do you like your title, by the way? Can you see it? Can you read it? Your regional brick assembly specialist.
A reminder, sub-news. And
Sub news. Yes, sub news. Actually,
Yes,
I
and
can
I'm
go
looking
to,
for that because
this
the-
week.
Taki Sub News is that's where you come in.
yes, if you will let me talk.
Oh, that's that's asking a lot. That's asking a lot.
I
You
know.
I'll just lean back.
Yeah.
You guys talk about this.
I'll just have to prepare the stuff here because I have to do some wiggling of the windows. But yes, we have some results to
Sub
talk with you
news.
about with regards to submarines. We had the large test on the live server earlier, and there was a lot of feedback.
Thanks for that, by the way. I
yes.
just wanted to say, like, every single person that left feedback for the submarines, we actually read all of the comments, and I just want to really appreciate, say how much we appreciate the time you spent on providing a lot of insightful and in-detail feedback about all of the aspects when you tried that mode, and keep it up. We really enjoyed this and appreciate it.
So basically, for the next iteration, we are currently testing internally and working on it. We are moving in several directions to basically address the feedback. So we have some updates with regards to how the sonar ping works. We have also some updates on how the battery mechanics work. We have listened to the feedback that it's very hard to play battleship or a cruiser when there is a submarine around without ability to touch it. So we actually added both something specifically for battleships and heavy cruisers, and we made it a bit easier to hit the submarines that are too close to surface. We have also added some information sharing, and we have addressed the problem of submarines scouting ships on the surface a bit too effectively. So basically, while the submarines will will still be the stealth underwater hunters and stuff, there are some things that will change. So the change number 1 will be a sonar ping. Basically, in the previous iteration, we had the target indicators on the ship bow and stern that you had to hit with the sonar ping, which was kind of cumbersome, especially with not necessarily always good indication of where the sonar ping is traveling, especially when you were underwater.
Taki, if I may,
Yeah?
just as a reminder for chat. So I hope most of you played it, right? But the way it worked before is you basically had 2 points where you needed to aim for at the ship, right? So you had the bow and the stern where you would actually aim for, and you would have to hit that specific spot, not just any part of the ship. So that's the change to beforehand.
So basically, the change that is coming now is you won't have to aim for these specific points anymore. Hit anywhere on the ship with the first ping will start the torpedoes to be homing. That's the easier part. But at the same time, not to make it too easy for the submarines, and to make it a bit easier for the target ship to try to defend itself. If you want to activate the second feature of the submarine torpedoes, that is ignoring the torpedo defenses and dealing the maximum damage, then you will have to hit with the second ping, you will have to hit the same part of the ship that you hit with the first ping. So this, for one, makes it a bit harder to activate the second feature. It makes it easier for the target ship to basically defend itself, because now if you turn, you increase the chance that the submarine will not hit the same part of the ship with the second ping. And if you don't hit the same target area, the highlighted part just moves to the new area, but it's still just concerning the homing of the torpedoes. And as a surface ship, you will also see that you've been pinged and where you have been pinged.
Yeah, so you no longer have a situation where suddenly torpedoes are following you from somewhere. If a submarine chooses to ping you, you will know about it and you will know where he's trying to aim. So you can actually actively counterplay against that by anchoring, by turning, by targeting speed. You have options.
Obviously, you will have to like pay attention to the minimap so that you know where the submarine probably might be. But in such case, turning against
Depth
the submarine
charges.
or away from the submarine could be a very, very effective method. And yeah, if you manage to hide the highlighted part from the incoming torpedoes, then they will stop homing. So that's also like a good, good change.
There's a question here from Mr. Thor who says, "What is a part of the ship? Like, what does I need to hit with the second ping? Is the highlighted part on the hull? Yes, it's the highlighted part
Yes.
on the hull. You
Yes,
basically have
exactly.
to-
This is how the surface ship commander would see it, and you see that the part of the hull that was hit by the ping is highlighted. So, as the submarine driver, you will see what you hit. As the surface ship skipper, you will also see where you have been pinged, and you can start trying to make some active countermeasures.
And just one thing to highlight here, this is obviously work in progress.
Yes.
So this is for us the concept, right? This is why everything else is also blurred out. This is the concept. This is roughly how we imagine it to work in the future. So don't get too caught up on how big that sector is right now.
Yeah.
This is just how we envision it in the future.
Gemlin is saying, can you fix it so subs can't surface then dive, then surface then dive to avoid depth charges and guns?
There.
We'll get there. And yes, we fix this.
You just wanted to say this. Get to get back to you.
Yeah. Another thing that was kind of hard to understand and hard to use was the submarine battery recharge. In the previous iteration, your battery was spent by traveling high speed or by pinging. And you can recover it either by surfacing or by traveling underwater at 1/4 speed. But there were no penalties for low charge, and basically the submarine could stay underwater all the time. At the same time, the recharging was kind of weird. So now we have changed it a bit to be, again, a bit more user-friendly for the submarine skippers, but also a bit more friendly to the surface ships by basically providing more severe limits to the submarines. So now the submarine can, for one, the battery charge will not be consumed by movement of the submarine. So you can go any speed and you will not lose the charge. You will lose it only by actively pinging or launching torpedoes. But at the same time, if you have the charge below 20%, then you get reduced maximum speed, and you get also reduce the width of the sonar ping. So it will become harder to chase after things, and it will become harder to ping things. And if the charge is down to 10%, then you lose the sighting range, the detection range, and you also lose the range of the sonar pings, and you lose the basically illumination of the things underwater. So you will have it. You will have harder time navigating.
You will be in a dark, grim place.
Now you will be able to recharge underwater at any speed. But it will be limited to maximum 30% of the battery charge. So while you are underwater, you cannot get past that. So you can see that it will be very easy to basically go from 30% to 20 or 10%, and then you have a problem. And obviously, if you surface, you can recharge to 100%. So by this, we hope to have the submarine a bit easier to play, but at the same time to have a very strong motivation to both preserve the charge and to surface and recharge fully, because otherwise you are very close to being useless in the long run. And tied to that, we have also added, as I advertised, some anti-submarine defenses for battleships and heavy cruisers. They won't have depth charges because, I mean, like chasing with a battleship after submarine would be kind of hard to sail above it. But they will be able to call in from like elsewhere outside of the map. They will be able to call in an anti-submarine plane. When you choose it, your camera reticle changes a bit so that you can aim. You will see
You can show it, by the way.
the sea. Yes, I'm just. And the plane will come and drop the bomb on the submarine, and it will look like something like this. Again, work in progress, so we'll be working on polishing it, but you can see the reticle. So basically, when you activate the weapon, you will get this view, and when in the 10-kilometer range around the ship, you will be able to drop a bomb. Well, tell the plane to drop a bomb. And you will have limited amount of charges, the same as with the depth charges, and they will again restore over time, so you will never remain completely helpless. Additionally, to locate submarines that are really too close to you, you will get a hydrophone that will be working at the range of 3 to 5 kilometers. So if a submarine is very sneaky and trying to sneak past you, you shall know about it. But obviously, if the submarine is so close, you might have a problem. At the same time, the hydrophones will now work same as normal spotting. So if anyone from your team will detect submarine by hydrophone, the submarine will be shown for everyone. So it's like you can... I can see how you can make it work, for example, between light cruiser and battleship to have kind of cross drops between the depth charges and the plane if the submarine is within 10 kilometers from the battleship. At the same time, the destroyers' hydrophone range will increase to 7 kilometers, so they will detect the submarines earlier, and they won't have to maybe actively chase them necessarily every time. It will be enough to detect them, and maybe a battleship can take care of them, or some other ship. But in general, it should increase the basically team play against the submarines. Another point that was raised quite often was was the spotting, because the submarines were a bit too good at detecting destroyers, especially from basically outspotting them without the destroyer being able to do anything about it. So, for one side, we increase the range of the hydrophones, and at the same time, we are cutting down the detectability range of the surface ships from submarines by 1/3. So, if your destroyer has a detectability range of 6 kilometers, submarine will detect it at 4 kilometers. And the detectability of submarine on the surface would be like 4.5 to 5 kilometers. So the destroyer can now get a drop on the submarine.
So just for you guys, while you take a look at the screen, so you can see this right now. If you pay attention at the screenshot, you will see that DD is 4.2 kilometers away. The submarine is spotted while the DD isn't spotted yet, right? So this is what we're looking for, that the submarine is not always able to outspot ADD, but there's actually a good chance for the DD to also spot that submarine and be the actual counterplay by being able to hunt it even more effectively.
Okay. While everybody is focusing on submarines, right, there are some people in chat who ask the serious questions, who ask the hard questions, and maybe Evan can help with this. Deep61 would like to know, what is the latest on the My Little Pony collaboration? Okay, work in progress. Back to submarines.
No. Yes, last point for the spotting. At the same time, if the surface ship fires, then the submarine can spot it for her maximum firing range. That will work the same way as it works with the surface-to-surface spotting, so no change there. So if you are destroyer, careful with the trigger. Even if you don't see anyone around, there might be submarine.
He didn't say no, chat. He didn't say no.
Yes. There was a question here just in general about how do CVs actually fit into all of this. So for CVs, there's no update yet. We'll have to see how we will address this in the future.
Yeah, baby step. Basically, the CVs didn't have really as much problem as the battleships and cruisers, because if lone CV is left in the game against basically anything, it might have a problem. And the main point we wanted to get first was the battleships and the cruisers.
Yeah.
Then
can
there
I-
are
Can I just ask a quick question from Mr. Throw? He's asking, regarding the anti-sub plane, does it interact with AA and can it bomb
Yes.
other ships? So
Oh.
yes,
yes and no.
yes and no. So it can be shot down just like any other plane, but it cannot bomb surface
Yes.
ships because that would be no.
That's not what's there for.
Yeah, it's depth charges. If they fall on deck, they don't explode because they don't get the water pressure.
Good in universe explanation there. Thank you.
We will also update, because that was another part of feedback, that the subsurface world is kind of like dreary and boring and stuff. So we will be improving the underwater landscape, and for one, it will. Sorry.
Yes. And
but-
the
Oh,
mech.
Shamu, I don't know.
There'll be underwater geography. We'll have a seafloor. We'll have some corals, and there is even a remote chance that at some point in the future we may get fish.
Release the Kraken.
Yes. Look, look,
But
if that ever happens, I would celebrate so much. If you
An
see
actual
Kraken taking that last ship, that would be so epic.
yeah, but this will both make the underwater world look nicer, and it shall also make the navigation easier, because you will see the obstacles better. And the last but not least change was that was already teased by Mr. Conway right at the beginning. There was this 6-meter boundary where submarines can get immunity from HE, and at the same time it was the boundary for periscope, so it was very easy to kind of abuse this border by the submarine by going in and out all the time, so basically maintaining the vision but being mostly invulnerable to HE. This will be changed. The border will now be dropped down to 10 meters. Which means that, for one, the submarine that would like to bounce on the invulnerability boundary will not be able to use the periscope, will not see. So that's one thing. And obviously for the submarine that is submerging or that is at periscope depth, it will take longer to reach the immunity zone. So if you see a periscope out there, start plastering with it with HE, and you have quite some window of opportunity to cause some serious harm to the submarine in question.
Yes.
This obviously is still in development, so it will take us some time to actually implement and release it to you, but we just wanted to update you with the current status and our current thoughts, and especially with how that ties to your feedback from the previous round, because I mean it's been some time, but we were not sleeping on it.
Yeah. And guys, in general, this is like our concept, what we want to change based on your feedback to make submarines fit better into the game. Doesn't mean there might not be other changes, like for example for CVs. I saw some questions about the armament of submarines besides torpedoes. At least as far as I'm aware,
currently we are not planning
to make
any changes there.
the guns actually work, because at least the caliber they have, they wouldn't do any damage anyway in the game. So this is currently not planned.
Apart from Surcouf. But
apart-
we'll cross
okay.
that bridge when we get to it.
Yeah,
It's like kind of like a hybrid, right? So and hybrids are always tricky to do.
Yeah.
But overall, this is at least currently not planned. And I know there are plenty of questions about sea life and what about shallow water and how is it going to interact and underwater geography. All of this we'll get there. Right now, what is the most important thing for us is to get the balance right, especially between all the classes, and make sure that submarines fit. They are fun to play, and they're also fun to play against, and they're proper counterplays for most of the classes, so that you always have like some kind of rock paper scissors system for most of the ships. So this is our main priority. We will obviously do more tests and let you know when we're going to do the next test. But for now, it's mostly about sharing, since it's been a while since we ran this, that these are the upgrades and updates that we're planning. And all of this is going to be on the dev blog, because I know it was a lot of information, a lot of text that we just, put out there, so you can read up on all of this on our development blog, which you can find either on Facebook. You can also find it on your regional forums, and it's I'm sure it's going to get reposted by a lot of blogs out there. So please take a look, leave some feedback, but keep in mind, this is not about specific numbers at the moment. It's more about making these adjustments, and then we'll still have to tune it anyway. So please think about the bigger picture.
Even where we had specific numbers, they are basically examples of the direction. They are not set in stone yet.
Yes. Yeah, you can expect to have more news on submarines soon. As we continue with our testing schedule, we'll make sure to keep you updated, and I'm sure eventually you'll also see another test iteration that you guys can play.
Yes.
Cool.